I remember that night like a scar carved into my mind. You know how some moments refuse to fade, no matter how many years pass. This was one of them. I'd been on the road all day, driving back home from Austin. I live in Louisiana, so it's a long haul. Before leaving, an old friend, Eli, saw my story on Instagram and reached out. He said he lived about an hour outside the city, right along my route, and invited me to stop by. I hadn't seen him in years. Nostalgia, whiskey, and the promise of catching up with someone from the past. It sounded harmless. When I pulled up, his house looked like something out of a faded photograph. Old wood, paint chipping, porch creaking under my weight. Inside, the air smelled like time itself, aged oak and dust sealed in stillness. Eli was warm though, throwing his arms around me, pouring drinks before I even set my bag down. We talked for hours, whiskey loosening our laughter until my head spun. Eventually, he asked the question I'd been half expecting: why not crash here tonight? You shouldn't drive drunk. I hesitated, but he was right. He offered a spare room. The hall leading there was dim, the kind of dim that makes shadows cling to corners. The room itself was cold, stale, as if no one had opened it in years. I barely noticed though, the alcohol dragged me under like an anchor. At some hour deep in the night, I woke up. My throat was dry, the room lit faintly by moonlight slipping through blinds. That's when I saw it. At first, it looked like a coat hanging on the closet door. A long, dark shape. My eyes adjusted, and something about it was wrong. Too broad. Too human. It didn't sag like fabric. It stood. Watching. My chest tightened. I tried convincing myself it was nothing. Just a coat. Just the liquor messing with me. I rolled over, squeezed my eyes shut, but my body refused to sink back into sleep. When I dared to peek again, it hadn't moved. Sometime later, I woke again, this time to a sound. Creaking. The unmistakable groan of old wood under careful footsteps. I snapped my eyes open. The corner was empty. The coat was gone. Every nerve in me fired at once. I bolted upright, scanning shadows, swallowing panic like glass shards. I couldn't sit there. I stumbled into the hallway and shook Eli awake. "What coat?" he mumbled, rubbing his eyes. "The one in the room, the black one. Hanging on the closet door." It looked like a man. His brow furrowed. "I don't own a trench coat. And there's no rack in there." I wanted him to laugh, to say it was a prank, but his eyes, they were serious. Dead serious. We checked the room together. Empty. No coat. No rack. No sign of anyone. But the silence pressing in on us wasn't normal silence. It felt heavy. Watching. At dawn, I grabbed my keys, muttered a goodbye, and drove off, every mile of road swallowed by a knot of unease. I kept asking myself, had I imagined it? A drunken dream? Or had something been there, standing in that corner, waiting until I was too drunk to run? The truth is, I'll never know. But sometimes, late at night, when I wake to the sound of wood creaking in my own house, I remember that shadow in the corner. And I wonder if I really left it behind.